Part 28. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 271. He suddenly remembered what his father had said, that his mother had taken a liking to Li Yue. Because Li Yue graduated from high school and has a stable job. For a family like theirs, a wife with good facial features is all that is required. The most important thing is to be smart. Those who don't know Ceci will only think that she has no merit except her appearance. If Li Junlu hadn't insisted on marrying his eldest daughter first and his mother was anxious to get him engaged, it would have been Li Yue who made the arrangements for him. Assuming he married Li Yue, he would never look down on her arrogant attitude. Even if the two of them sleep in the same bed, he will never touch them. The other person in him is irritable, which may be more difficult to get along with, so it is inevitable to take action against her. Could it be that in Li Yue's conscious world? Have you ever married yourself? And Sci married Feng Shuangzi? Sci has outstanding abilities, but as a man, she is not even half as good as her. Twice he showed up, she said it didn't matter if he couldn't go to college and she could support him. At first he thought she was coaxing him. Later I found out that she really had that ability. She has money and spends it generously. Outsiders saw her and thought she was marrying into a good family and enjoying happiness. In fact, she did it all on her own. Similarly, if she marries Feng Shuangzi, she can still support Feng Shuangzi. If she can't support Feng Shuangzi, she can support Feng Shuangzi's whole family. How can Feng Shuangzi not love her? Can you just obey your advice? Li Yue, don't you envy me when you see her? Qin Yanxi slowly sorted out his thoughts, and suddenly became enlightened. Suddenly, a burst of anger shot up from the solace of his feet to the sky. Li Yue actually imagined that his daughter-in-law would be given to that second-rate man Feng Shuangzi. How do you match that yakuza? He held back his temper and said, "Si." Ying Ceci was very sensitive to her own name. She was sound asleep when she heard it, and subconsciously responded, "Yeah. I won't help you with Feng Shuangzi's affairs in the future." Ying Ceci turned over and fell asleep again, the slapping pads on her eyes falling. The next second he opened his eyes, but was blinded by the light and closed them again. "What did you say?" "I said I wouldn't arrange anything for Feng Shuangzi, that gangster. I wish I could give him 2 blows. I stayed up most of the night, thinking about Feng Shuangzi." "Ah. You turn on the light and look at me, you." Ying Ceci was so embarrassed that she pinched him. Qin Yanxi's neck tightened. "Murder your relatives." Ying Ceci let go of him. "I'm ignoring you." She pulled the quilt over her head and kicked him with her legs. Qin Yanxi suffered a loss once, but this time he learned better. When she covered her head, she jumped out of bed. "You also beat your husband and rebelled." "Ying Ceci, what if I just rebel? Who told you to offend me?" Qin Yanxi stood by the bed and stared at the bulge in the quilt for a while, then picked up her clothes from the bedside and stuffed them into the quilt. "If you don't want to look at it, put it on, and I'll go out right away." Qin Yanxi walked to the door and deliberately opened it. Ying Ceci heard the noise, sat up, and found that the person was still in the room, but he was carrying her on his back. Her anger subsided again, and she got dressed in a few moments. "I won't live with you tomorrow." "If you don't live with me, who will you live with?" "I live by myself." "Qin Yanxi, there are many mice in the house. I'll trample one to death." Qin Yanxi, "Aren't you afraid of centipedes? There are many flowers in the pots on the balcony." "Where is it? Is it big?" "The big centipedes in our hometown are expensive and can be sold for 5 cents. Qin Yanxi, When Ying Ceci said this, she already smiled. She pretended to be serious and said, "Don't think about asking you to help me tighten the cap of my skincare product. I can't twist it open without all the strength I have." Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 272. Qin Yanxi chuckled and approached her shamelessly. Sissy, is it okay if I was wrong? It was 1:30 in the morning, and he only had 2 days left with her today. If he got angry with her, he would have to wait for her next time. Goodbye, I may have to be squeezed out by that guy for another hour. Isn't the time the two of them spend together getting shorter and shorter? He couldn't bear to leave her. You should look away. Qin Yanxi opened the quilt and got into bed again. Do you want to turn off the light? Turn off the lights, Yang Sisi said. The next second, the room fell into darkness. Yang Sisi lay down and continued to sleep. Qin Yanxi leaned over and said, tomorrow I will go to the teacher's house to review. Okay, I won't prepare your meal at noon. Yang Sisi planned to visit Lao Zhao tomorrow to inquire about the latest acquisition direction. Shampoo is temporarily unavailable for sale, but it is always convenient for her to buy things. When the sky is bright. Yang Sisi woke up naturally, and she was the only one left in the room. There was a note on the bedside. I have left some food for you to warm in the stove. Yang Sisi looked at the punctuation marks above and turned them into dots. Look for glasses immediately. Only the glasses case is there. He wore glasses, but used dots as punctuation marks. It seemed that he just wanted to change his writing habits earlier, but she thought it was abnormal. She suddenly felt that she was going too far. With just a few differences, I went to the hospital to consult a doctor. Obvious distrust and disrespect for him. Think about it from her perspective, her behavior is chilling. Her heart was full of debt. Decided to buy pajamas for him. She got up, had breakfast, and went shopping in the mall on her bicycle. Wandering from the east to the west of the city, she finally fell in love with a pair of pajamas that were tailored to her liking. She asked about the price. 30. Yang Sisi thought it was worth it and immediately paid for it. As soon as I went out, I met Song Hanmei and a woman, carrying large and small bags. They should be shopping for the work. The former has a sad look on his face. The latter comforted him. If you can't live with it, leave as soon as possible. Your daughter is young, has a job, and looks good. Are you afraid that no one will want her? That's easy to say. Song Hanmei has a traditional mind and believes that divorce is a very shameful thing. She raised her eyes and saw Yang Sisi, with a rosy face and a pretty face. Out of anger. Because she was afraid of the Shen family, she didn't dare to mess around again. Just pretend you didn't see it. Yang Sisi also hated him deeply and turned a blind eye and left. The person next to Song Hanmei touched her. Look at that girl, how handsome she is. She is wearing clothes and pants that I have never seen in the mall. Song Hanmei said contemptuously, what's the use of being handsome? You have no good character. That girl was born to a local village girl when our old Li was in the countryside. He picked her up all the way from the southern countryside and booked her with Qin Yanjun's youngest son. By coincidence, she found her biological father. Who do you think her biological father is? Who? It can't be Qin Yanjun, right? The third son of the Shen family in Yanjing, Shen Yushan, used to serve in the army, but after being injured and unable to have children, he took over the daughter of Lao Li's ex-wife. This daughter was also a snobbery, and she broke up with us after recognizing her capable father. Not only that, but Lao Li was demoted 2 levels in a row. I heard you tell me before that your old Li was demoted, but I didn't know it was because of this girl. This is too ungrateful. Even if he is not his biological father, he is still his adoptive father. Who says it's not the case? If I had known earlier, I shouldn't have taken him back. Yang Si walked away and heard Song Hanmei slandering her character, so she turned back and followed her, but she couldn't bear it anymore. Please vote. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 273. She walked up to the two of them and said coldly, "Auntie, your ability to confuse right and wrong is really top-notch." She said old Lee and village girl lightly, as if my mother was very casual. It was obviously your old Lee who shamelessly pursued me, so my mother agreed to follow him. The two of them held a banquet in the village. Why don't you make it clear? Why didn't you say that you picked me up into the city because your daughter didn't agree to a blind date with the Chin family, and that's why you thought of me? And why didn't you say that you took the Chin family's 800 yuan gift and only got a wardrobe as a dowry? She didn't know the amount of the betrothal gift until she asked Qin Yan's speech after the wedding. Since she is not a girl from the Li family, what qualifications does the Li family have to receive her bride price? She will ask a CI to raise the matter with her father-in-law tomorrow. Get the money back. She continued, as for my biological father, he said that he was injured in his early years and lost contact with my mother because of his memory. He didn't get married because he only had my mother in his heart. I just found out today that he has lost his fertility. I will ask him right away, why did you lie to me? She was leaving after saying this. Song Hanmi was breaking out in a cold sweat and her hands and feet were cold. When did this little follow you? She grabbed Ying Sisi's wrist and said, Sisi, don't. I don't mean to talk about you behind your back. Ying Sisi looked directly at her, you only need to tell me whether what I just said is true. Yes, it's true. Auntie, did you hear this? Ying Sisi asked the woman next to her. Hey, the woman was embarrassed and uneasy. Sister Song is the same. The black ones are called white. Even the matter of whether people can have children is nonsense. Don't be afraid that people will start to care about you and cause trouble in your work unit. Ying Sisi snorted lightly, and Song Hanmi walked away with a glance. Song Hanmi felt ashamed to face her colleagues at this moment, so she left him alone on the grounds that she felt unwell. When she got home, she saw Li Yue watching TV with a blue and swollen face, and a pile of dirty clothes next to her. She got angry and said, "Can't you wash the clothes if you don't go to work? You don't do anything all day long, just waiting for me to serve you, what's it like? Don't I go to work?" "I didn't go because my face was hurt." Li Yue lowered her head in grievance, and after taking a breath, she said, "Why are you back?" Song Hanmi was so angry that she said, "It's not Ying Sisi's father who, because of his ability, made me look bad in the street." She said the reason in a evasive way. Li Yue complained, "She has lived in our house for several months, and you have not paid for any of her food. She is so unkind." White-eyed wolf. Feng Shuangzi is a promising person, but Ying Sisi wants to trapping him with a job is simply insidious. Song Hanmi felt a headache when she heard what happened next. It's a good thing to arrange work, why don't you agree? How did you get your confidence in Feng Shuangzi? Li Yue couldn't hold it in any longer, so she hinted in another way, because of a long dream she had, in which Feng Shuangzi married Ying Sisi. 2 years later, the country encouraged business, and he suddenly became the most powerful person in Yanjing. A man with money. As for me, I was abused by him every day when I was married to Qin Yanxi. I was worried about repeating the same mistakes in my dream, so I decided to avoid him. Song Hanmi sat down on the ground, patted her thighs and collapsed. You gave up the college student to Ying Sisi because of an illusory dream. You might as well make me mad. Why is my life so miserable? The partner married someone in the countryside. The girl I brought back caused a lot of trouble in the house. My dear, she used the pearls as fish eyes and the fish eyes as pearls, causing me trouble at all times. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 274. Mom, Mom, don't get excited. Listen to me. As long as we persuade Feng Shuangzi to refuse Ying Cici's arrangement, he will definitely be able to make a career in the future. Li Yue carefully recounted her past and present experiences last night. Read it again. I think Feng Shuangzi is still capable. It's just that I haven't realized it yet. Ying Cici in her previous life may have given Feng Shuangzi some advice and helped him make money, which made him favor her more. And I understand the development trend of the future world, and guide Feng Shuangzi to go out and venture out. With Feng Shuangzi's ability, isn't it easy to rebuild the glory of his previous life? Why? She was so angry that she was sloppy yesterday. You shouldn't say that to Feng Shuangzi. Otherwise, the trouble between them would not be like this. She needs a mother to give Feng Shuangzi a step up. After the couple reconciles, she can slowly persuade him to give up working. Song Hanmei pointed at her. You, she wanted to say that you are whimsical and daydreaming. But when the words came to his lips, he was so angry that he couldn't say them out. Finally, she couldn't stand the stimulation, rolled her eyes and fainted. Mom, Mom, don't scare me, someone, please help. Li Yue shouted for help. Neighbors worked together to get the person to the hospital. Li Junlu hurried over after getting the news. Song Hanmei woke up leisurely at this time and saw him crying. Tell me, since you don't want to stay in the country, why do you want to host a banquet with Cici's mother? If you don't host a banquet with others, I won't be caught. Li Junlu didn't know why. What's wrong? Li Yue was wearing a mask at the moment, showing her slightly blue eyes, and explained the ins and outs. Li Junlu had a headache. You're so cute, why did you mess with her? Don't you know her father? Why should you focus on observing me? Fortunately, he had not made any principled mistakes. No matter how powerful Shen Yushan is, he cannot be punished at will. Otherwise, not only would he have to pack up and go home, he would also have to stay in a dormitory. What I said is true. If her mother didn't intend to take advantage of you, how would she have the chance to go to the city to marry a college student? It's Yue's fault. As soon as Li Junlu mentioned this matter, he regretted his original decision. Li Yue firmly believes in her choice. Why do you blame me? Sooner or later you will know that I am right. Li Junlu didn't want to hear a word. Okay, I've seen people do ideological work for others, but you are the first to do ideological work for yourself. 205. Others say that Qin Yanxi is neurotic, but you do this. Real nerves. Li Yue became anxious. Dad, can you trust me again? I know why Qin Yanxi is neurotic. He has a dual personality, one body and two souls. I wish I could die now and let the ghosts resurrect themselves. Song Hanmei closed her eyes weakly. My daughter is indeed a loser. Having been in pain for so many years, I am useless. Her careful cultivation was in vain. It's better to be like Ying Cici, that little free-range bastard. Mom! Get out! Li Junlu was furious and pushed and shoved Li Yue. Li Yue was very helpless. Parents who are middle-aged do not understand the meaning of dual personality, and Ying Cici certainly does not understand it. So what she said is in vain. What kind of business is this? Ying Cici didn't listen, so she wrote it. She went home and wrote an anonymous letter and mailed it to Ying Cici. At that time, Ying Cici was exchanging cups with Lao Zhao in a private room of the hotel. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 275. Old Zhao was drunk, so he answered Cici's question and what he said. For example, the formal purchasing channels of hotels, how to price the meals in the hotel, and the highest cost of transporting aquatic products. A discerning driver can still get kickbacks, which is a bad job. This made Yang Cixi think a lot. She planned to ask her father-in-law to arrange for her to learn a driver's license as soon as possible so that she could work in a transportation unit. Old Zhao, Yang Cixi pushed him gently, "It's getting late, I'm going back first." Lao Zhao squinted his eyes and looked at her. Fairy, what are you going to do? Let me kiss you twice." "Kiss your mother." Yang Cixi was so disgusted by him that she slapped him in the face and kicked him to the ground. The old man drank some yellow soup and couldn't tell the difference between east, west, north, and south. "How dare you tease her? If it wasn't useful, I wouldn't bother paying attention to him." She strode out, paid for the private room, and said to the waiter, "My old uncle is drunk. Can you help take care of me? This is your reward." She took out 5 yuan and pocketed it. "Rise." The waiter was overjoyed. "I only earn 55 yuan after working hard for a month." The little girl gave out 5 yuan. "Don't say take care of it once, just take care of it twice. Don't worry, I will take good care of our uncle." Yang Cixi smiled at him. The waiter was dazzled. "This girl is so handsome. How nice would it be if she were his wife?" Before Yang Cixi went home, she went to a public bathhouse to wash away the smell of alcohol. After entering the house, Qin Yanxi was not there. She went back to the room and took out his original pajamas and compared them. They found they were larger than the previous ones. "There is no problem wearing it." She changed her own clothes, and when washing the clothes she had changed, she also washed the newly bought pajamas. It turned out that she didn't wash new clothes. That poisonous woman Song Han Mi said that clothes sprayed with anti-insect spray must be washed, otherwise it will damage the skin. Over time, she developed a habit. Hold the clothes to dry after washing. She turned on the TV and switched to a program that taught people how to identify fakes, then backed away and sat on a bench. Just couldn't see it for 5 minutes. Qin Yanxi came back with a big bag in his hand. "ACI, you are back. What are you bringing? Have you eaten?" "Eat it. What do you think is in it?" Qin Yanxi weighed the bag, pretending to be mysterious. "Did your teacher give it to you?" Yang Cixi thought for a while. "It can't be dried apricots, right?" "How did you guess that?" Qin Yanxi was surprised. "Because you brought dried apricots from the teacher last time. Where is his hometown? There are so many apricots at home." "Qin Yanxi, the Northwest is very close to my farm. Do you want to try it?" "I'm full, let's eat later." Yang Cixi was curious about his experience on the farm. She didn't ask him at first because she was worried about arousing bad memories from him. But now that he took the initiative, she asked more. What do you do on the farm?" "When I started farming, because I could repair machines, I was often asked to help by fellow villagers from outside. Later, my superiors specially arranged for me to repair machines, so I could supervise the warehouse," Qin Yanxi said. "It's great to be educated like me. I only know how to farm, raise pigs and herd cattle." Qin Yanxi said with a smile on his face, "It's the same skill if you know how to farm and raise pigs." Yang Cixi was proud. "You can still speak." Qin Yanxi said, "You are an exception. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't be so easy to talk to. Girls in the village get married very early. Has anyone arranged a matchmaker for you?" He wanted to know who was surrounding her. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 276. Yang Cixi blinked. "Do you really want me to say it? Well, let's talk. Even if you go on a blind date, I won't be angry." Then I said, "There are quite a few matchmakers for me, because I am relatively strong, and one farm work is worth 2. Those uncles and aunts couldn't stand it, and they rushed to ask me to be their daughter-in-law. Two of the blind dates are high school graduates. I couldn't understand what they were saying, so I asked them for advice. They said that I was a woman and didn't need to understand too much, as long as I could give birth to children. It was very disrespectful. Grandma said that no matter how well educated people are, she cannot get in touch with them. The next time she hears them, she will just give them two big mouths. I really beat someone up, and the families with higher education levels later ignored me. They said she was rude and unreasonable, and marrying her would ruin 3 generations. Before entering the city to get engaged to Qin Yanxi, her aunt found her all bachelors who couldn't find a wife. She felt it was not appropriate to say the following words. Qin Yanxi smiled and said, "Maybe I'm afraid that you will come in and beat their whole family." Ying Sisi smiled and bent down. "How is that possible? I don't hit anyone." "I won't hit anyone either," Qin Yanxi said. Ying Sisi, I saw you beat Li Yue with my own eyes. Such a comparison. She and ACI are quite compatible. See who is unhappy, do it if you can. Vent out your temper and you will be more energetic. When she first entered Beijing, she had no money and no power, so she had no choice but to endure Song Han Mei all the time, and her whole body turned into pustules. Fortunately, the Qin family gave her great confidence. Speak up. She found her path smoother only after meeting a CI. When her grandparents were in poor health, she was just able to make money. Everything that was saved was bought for them. After their death, she was robbed of her house again. She was penniless and hid in a rice field crying. The old lady found her and said she could take her in. There is only one condition: she is not allowed to have with anyone. Because her father is very good looking and very capable. Even if you get married, you should find someone who is as good as your father. She has never seen her father and cannot imagine what he looks like. So he agreed. After living with the old lady, she still did business, and the old lady helped her whenever she was free. If you live frugally for a month, you can save 10 yuan. If you are unlucky, you will lose some money. At the end of 1 year, I will probably save 30 or 40. But she was very satisfied. When she left the village, she thought about how good her father's conditions were in the city, so she gave all her savings to the old lady. How did she know that Li Junlu tricked her into going to the city to get married? To prevent her from running around, her household registration was even moved there. There was no letter of introduction from the street to drive back to her hometown, and there was no travel expenses. She had no place to go. Thinking about that made her angry. Qin Yanxi saw that her face was a little gloomy, thinking that she was being distorted because of what he said. "I won't hit anyone, I think he is dishonest." Added, "If others don't mess with me, I won't do anything." Ying Sisi put aside the unpleasant memories and raised a smile. "Yes. I bought you pajamas. They were just washed and can be worn tomorrow night." Qin Yanxi walked to the balcony and looked at the color of his clothes, which was deep blue. Relatively satisfied. It doesn't just have to be the same color as that guy. It's good, didn't I change it? 3 sets are not enough for you. Qin Yan was speechless. Ying Sisi pursed her lips. "Do you want to get dressed again?" He rarely made requests. "When I go shopping one day, I will buy some cloth and make it for you." Okay. Qin Yanxi also planned to give her a gift. "This is the day, which day should I choose?" She will definitely miss her birthday. It would be great if I could show up on Chinese Valentine's Day. It's a pity that he only has 5 days. Leaving the teacher's house today, he went to the library again. Finally found an article describing multiple personalities. Some people have more than 2 personalities. If you want to be independent, you must design to kill another. Even if he makes the other party disappear, he will never use this method. Please vote. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 277. I have something to discuss with you. Yang Sisi mentioned asking for the bride price, and also mentioned the driver's license. Before I returned home, my dad said that it has been so long and there is nothing. Please help me ask. Qin Yanxi thought about it for a moment. I'll ask him now. Dad hasn't gotten off work yet? How about we make an agreement when we go back to the courtyard for dinner in the evening? It's inconvenient to go back at night. Qin Yanxi's eyes were burning. Yang Sisi understood instantly and her face felt hot. Will not being in moderation be bad for your health? I know it well. Yang Sisi reached out and touched his chest and said angrily, what number do you have? I don't agree. Qin Yanxi's skin felt itchy where she pointed, and his eyebrows relaxed. He stretched out his hand to hold her wrist and rubbed it gently with his fingertips. He suddenly became worried about gains and losses. Sci, if one day I don't wear glasses anymore, will you miss wearing it? Yang Sisi, why are you here again? Wouldn't it be nice not to wear glasses? Why is he always confused? But since he cared, she followed him. Absolutely, she racked her brains to find words of praise. Wearing glasses makes you look gentle and elegant like a high-level intellectual. The most important thing is that she looks good. Qin Yanxi's eyes sparkled. Really? What about when I don't wear it? He is so cold that no one dares to mess with him. It gives me a sense of security. Qin Yanxi's face turned from sunny to gloomy, so he could only attract her with his appearance. And that person occupied her heart. I'm going back to the house to read. He walked straight away. Yang Sisi was confused for a while. Is he angry? She was sure she had said the right thing. He strode after him. ACI, aren't you looking for Dad? You deliberately looked cold and didn't intend to help? Qin Yanxi paused, turned around to meet her confused eyes. His heart softened, and he silently reflected on his attitude towards her. Sometimes hot and sometimes cold. She was not annoyed. Such a good girl, he should cherish her. I suddenly forgot, he said with a smile again. Yang Sisi whispered, I forgot what I just said. I have amnesia. After Qin Yan left, Yang Sisi prepared dinner. There was a knock on the door outside. She thought he had forgotten his key, so she opened the door and recognized the old man downstairs. Hello, sir, what's the matter? Girl, it's like this. Didn't my house burn down? I don't have anything at home. I went out to buy it. Those idiots looked at me as an old man from out of town and always gave me less. I want to have some food at your place. The uncle rubbed his hands cautiously. Yang Sisi was stunned. This was the first time she encountered such a request. She came to her senses and welcomed the person through the door. Okay, please come in and sit down wherever you like. The old man sat in front of the TV. Can I watch TV? Okay. Yang Sisi turned on the TV for him, adjusted it to a channel he was satisfied with, poured water and put it in front of him, and took out dried apricots to treat him. You can drink some tea and eat some dried fruits. Hey, after the old man was entertained, his expression became relaxed. I also have a TV at home. My daughter-in-law found it too noisy when she came back from work and wouldn't let me watch it. Instead, she asked me why I didn't watch it during the day. What kind of programs are there during the day? Yang Sisi was preoccupied with the matter at hand, did not listen carefully, and responded perfunctorily. The old man kept talking, mostly accusing his daughter-in-law. For example, she disliked him for spitting, didn't wash her hands and take off her shoes as she asked when eating, etc. Hey, when I said I wanted to go back to my hometown, my son didn't agree. He said that here I could enjoy all the blessings I could ask for. I didn't know anyone in the neighbors. If I wanted to visit, people wouldn't understand me, and they wouldn't pay attention to me. I can only stay at home. It happened that my employer had given me a lot of meat tickets, so I thought it was hot and the meat would be better stored without being smoked. The old man said more and more. Feeling uncomfortable, I wiped away my tears and began to twist my nose and throw the snot on the ground, wiping it on myself. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 278. Ying Cixi glanced at it and remained silent. The old man said again, I have been talking for so long, can you understand? My hometown is Sichuanshan. Ying Cixi, I probably understand. You understand everything. My wife said she didn't understand. Do you think she did it on purpose? The old man waited for Ying Cixi's answer and caught a glimpse of a bunch of copper coins hanging behind her door. I also have this thing at home. In the village the money a person gets from the landlord's family is worthless. Ying Cixi looked at her and finally left the chopping board. It's worthless and you still keep dividing it. I thought it was valuable when I divided it, the old man said. Unfortunately, the family ran away, otherwise we must kill them. You don't know how many bad things that family did. Whether the person is willing or not, he can directly come to propose marriage and force the marriage. When he is tired of it, he can send the person back and the bride price will be returned. Ying Cixi commented, that's a pity. The old lady also told her similar things. Not just the rich, the poor are also hateful. For example, pledging a wife. Luckily she wasn't born in that era, otherwise she wouldn't have been able to get away with it. After the meal is ready, Cixi should serve it to the old man first. The old man took a look at the fish stewed with tofu, green vegetables, mustard egg soup and said, hey, it's so rich, but the portion is a bit small. If it's not enough, I'll fill it up for you. I thought that was all you did, thinking that I could almost eat it myself. It turns out you still have more. Why don't you eat it? I'll wait for my partner. Uncle, you can eat first. Ying Cixi returned to the kitchen to clean up. The uncle cleared the dishes and burped, girl, thank you. Can I still come tomorrow? Ying Cixi, you're still here, she smiled, okay, what time will you come over? If I'm at home, I'll prepare it for you in advance. If you go out, I'll take it to your home. My son will bring you food at noon. I'm so hungry at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You're too polite, the old man smiled. He had been in the city for almost a month. This was the first time he saw such a nice girl. He said hello and left. When I went downstairs, I happened to meet Qin Yanci. He stretched out his hand to hold the other person. Young man, come with me. Qin Yanci didn't know the situation, thinking that after the other party's house was burned down, he purchased items and needed his help to arrange them. He stepped forward to follow. The old man pushed open the blackened door. Qin Yanci glanced at him. The walls of the living room were dark, with almost nothing left. Can someone live in your bedroom? The bedroom is fine. I closed the door when I ran out. The fire only reached the door, but the inside is fine. It's just that the side from the kitchen to the living room is gone. Hey, if I had known that this house was not built, I would never smoke meat in it. The old man regretted it and walked to Qin Yanci with a drawer and put it on the ground. This is for your wife, thank you for cooking it for me. Qin Yanci lowered his eyes and saw a large bunch of copper coins. Visually estimate 200 to 300. Thinking of Cixi asking him for copper coins earlier, a string was hung behind the door of his house. The rest should be taken action. He bent his legs and squatted down, raised his hands and mentioned it casually. These are common and not valuable. It still takes up space when you bring it home. He said, it's just a meal, no need. I'll pay it back tomorrow. The old man put the money into Qin Yanci's hand, take it as a token of my appreciation. Qin Yanci was not willing to accept it, but he didn't take it for free. It would be good to find someone to make a pixie and put it as a decoration at home. He thanked him and left. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 279. Open the door to your home. Then he saw Yang Cixi mopping the floor of the balcony, and he casually put the copper coins on the cabinet at the entrance. Yang Cixi raised her head and looked over. You're back. Where did you get so many copper coins? The uncle downstairs called you by name and told me how he got you here for dinner. Yang Cixi came closer and told the story while looking at the coins. Qin Yanxi smiled and said, You are too talkative. Auntie, this is valuable. Qin Yanxi glanced around. There were talismans drawn on the left and right sides of the copper coins, which should be in Manchu. Was there anything like this among the coins she sold last time? Yang Cixi pulled off the copper coin and said, I'll keep this. When she needed money urgently, she sold it, took it back to her room, put it on the table and returned to the living room. Qin Yanxi continued what he had not finished, about the driver's license. My father said that he had just reported your name and had to wait for a unified notification from above. Yang Cixi was very excited. Our dad is really good. Qin Yanxi added, there is also the matter of your betrothal gift. My father said there is no rush. He has his own plan. Yang Cixi finally had everything she had been pretending to have in mind, and she felt so good that she ate one more bowl of dinner than usual. After a meal, Qin Yanxi is responsible for putting away the dishes and clearing the table. Yang Cixi found a thin hemp rope and tied the copper coins together again, making a knot, and hung them on the back of the door instead of the original copper coins. Just set it up. There was a knock on the door outside. Open the door and take a look. She is the daughter-in-law of the old man downstairs. Her surname is Dai. She looks like she is in her 30s. She is holding a half-sized fish in her hand. I heard from my dad that he came to your place for a meal and you cooked fish for him. Take care. This is what I gave you. Sister, no need, I'll treat you to something to eat. How can that be possible? Sister Dai went directly into the house and put the fish into the kitchen sink. Put it here. Yang Cixi, you are too polite. I don't like to take advantage of others. Sister Dai glanced at the copper coins on the counter in the entrance hall. Is this the string my father gave you? To be honest, it was when my mother-in-law was still alive. Keep it and pin it on the back of the child's clothes to ward off evil spirits. Hey, the old man doesn't understand, so he just gives it away. Yang Cixi heard that the other party was ready to go back, so she immediately took it off and handed it to him. This is the one, I just restrung it, sorry. It looks so beautiful, you are so skillful with your hands. I will hang it behind the door tomorrow to protect the house. Qin Yanxi, didn't you leave the back of the children's clothes to ward off evil spirits? Sister Dai's face suddenly turned red. It won't affect our relationship if we leave two of them. I won't bother you anymore. Let's walk slowly. Yang Cixi saw the other person out. After closing the door, I remembered the one on the table in the bedroom, and quickly took it to catch up. There is another one here. I think the characters are different from the others. Take it out and play with it. Hey, I really bother you. You're welcome. Yang Cixi turned around and went home. Qin Yan said, this woman has a lot to do. It's a pity that you spent so much time on it. Yang Cixi smiled indifferently. It doesn't matter, it's originally theirs, but next time, I won't accept gifts from others. The strings on my hands are all red. When they were rough, I dared to break off the thorny branches with my bare hands. I don't dare to touch it now. It's because of your good recovery ability. For ordinary girls, it is difficult for ordinary girls to have calluses on their skin and touch water from time to time. Qin Yanxi paused and continued, it would be great if our children have your recovery ability in the future. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 280. Ying Cixi doesn't like to hear the topic of children. It's not that she doesn't want to have children. It was when he picked up his glasses. Maybe you will say again, who wants a child? When will I have the child? She was so stuck that she couldn't refute him. After all, he was mentally ill and couldn't be stimulated. She had to give him some slack. She interrupted, shall we go hiking tomorrow? I heard that the scenery on the mountain is beautiful now. Let's take pictures. Take a photo, okay, Qin Yanxi happily agreed. The two of them cleaned up and took a rest. Just as I lay down, there was a knock on the door outside. The old man who opened the door Qin Yanxi opened was holding the copper coins and said, young man, I gave it to you when I said it would be given to you. Who asked you to allow others to take it back? We are too embarrassed to accept it, so you can take it back. Qin Yanxi closed the door. The old man was so anxious that he had to go home with his things, shut himself up in the house, and clamored to go back to the countryside. The daughter-in-law had no choice but to come to the house in person and bring back the things she had brought back. Qin Yanxi's eyes darkened. I said no, are you done yet? The other party was so frightened that he took 2 steps back and then left. Qin Yanxi locked the door and returned to the house. That woman, there are so many things going on. Ying Cixi hugged him. Look, what's the big deal? Are you angry? Go to bed quickly. Qin Yanxi couldn't sleep at all. He tossed and turned, waiting for Ying Cixi to fall asleep. He gently got up and went to the next door to read. The shadow of Ying Cixi is all in my mind, and I can't shake it away. No wonder my mind has been empty this month. That guy must not have looked at it either. That person doesn't look. He didn't look at it either. He closed the book and returned to the bedroom. He turned sideways and looked at the people next to him through the not-so-bright light. "Si." Ying Cixi responded vaguely. "Aren't you asleep?" he said. There was no response from the room. He sighed, "Don't you have me in your heart? Why are we sleeping without you?" Ying Cixi was impatient when she was woken up. She turned over and pressed him down, resting her head on his chest. "Is it enough to have you?" She was so annoyed that she couldn't rest all night long. Qin Yanxi raised his hands and hugged her waist. "How can it be so thin? She is really good at it. Those that are lordotic and posteriorly curved." Ying Cixi beat his chest. "Are you going to sleep or not?" Qin Yanxi groaned in pain. It really hurt when she hit someone. He did not dare to move any more, closed his eyes and tried to fall asleep. Woke up in the morning and saw that the time was approaching 7:30. He was the only one left in the room. He called out, "Si." "What about people?" "Ying Cixi at home, here is your letter." Here Qin Yanxi responded, "Put it in through the crack in the door." "Okay, I'll stuff it in for you." Qin Yanxi got up and picked up the letter on the ground. There was only the recipient, but the sender was not written. Look at the postmark above. Is local. Who in the same city sent a letter to SISI? It's still an anonymous letter. It's definitely not good. He tore open the letter and read it, which explained the meaning of dual personality in detail. He immediately thought of Li Yue. Immediately I found Qin Yanjun with the letter. And name the suspect. Qin Yanjun was puzzled. How did the girl from Li Junlu's family know about it? I don't know, maybe to her, we are all people she once knew. Qin Yan said, "Do you know the Book of Mark, a famous foreign scholar? He wrote a book that said it is possible for people to never come from the future. Go back to the past. Maybe Li Yue is the person from the future." Because of this letter, he was almost certain that Li Yue was familiar with what would happen next. In order to change his destiny, he chose to be with Feng Shuangzi. Please vote.